Joining in on India Tonight this evening, we've got Kerala's Finance Minister, Thomas Isaac. Good evening, Mr. Isaac, and really appreciate you taking the time out for us. So let me begin by asking you, a broad question. How satisfied are you with the rollout of the GST 1 year on? Do you think, we've done a good job? Or as you've said in the past, has it, you think, reduced the ability of states to generate revenue?
I can speak only for myself. I must express my disappointment the way this very ambitious program has been implemented. I have my criticism regarding the design of Indian GST. It could have been designed in a manner in which state rights could have been better protected. But looking over the experience of past 1 year, something we all commonly have experienced is the shabby manner in which it has been implemented. Now, we are on the anniversary. We still do not have the final return form. Still, the tax is being collected on the basis of 3B form, where only summary data is available. It's not possible to check on the input credit claims made by various people. The e-way bill has just been rolled out, and still we cannot access the e-way bill at the real-time basis. Have a check on the vehicles that are transporting commodities. As a result, we don't know really what will be the revenue impact of GST. Its potential is not yet being utilized. I think there is a tremendous amount of leakage that taking place. Therefore, I am unhappy about the revenue increase of my state.
You started off by saying it's shabby implementation. While your point is well taken, the council only makes policies on GST, but it can't completely absolve itself of all responsibilities, for what you're calling, Mr. Isaac, a messy implementation. Is this all on account of the central government?
What was the state finance minister do not sit up and design the form in which returns are to be given. They are not on a day-to-day basis reviewing the implementation of IT backbone. There is a company which is responsible to do it, and that company has failed to do the task. Therefore, that's why I call it shabby implementation. It could have been done much better. In fact, I think a destination state like Kerala, revenue should have increased something 20+% per annum. But actually increase only is 3% plus. And along with the compensation comes to 14%. So there is a tremendous leakage taking place. And that is not being plugged, and that's a serious problem, and I don't share the responsibility for that.
Okay. So, according to you, what is it that's failed? Is it just the IT infrastructure, complex compliance, or high asking rates? What will you blame it on?
First is the IT backbone problem. Second is that a whole lot of knee-jerk reactions are going on. Certainly when you are implementing something, problems rise up, but you don't just roll back things. Now, for example, the latest suggestion made to have a cess on GST, to have incentives for digital transactions, these are all unwarranted. These are kind of going against the basic approaches that have been accepted, you see. Or the rates, you don't go on tweaking the rate every time we meet. Let things stabilize, allow things to stabilize. It's a long-term project, and then see what is the over implication. Then let's discuss and change it. That should be the approach.
Okay. Since we're talking about stability, by when do you think tax collections are going to sort of stabilize and be consistently above 1 lakh crore for GST to be viable? And, in that sense, what would you say is the scope then for further rate rationalization?
There is tremendous scope for greater buoyancy to the tax. The tax base will have to increase, it slowly will increase. then see the kind of excess input credit claimed. I think it is enormous. The huge accumulation of IGST funds along with if they sent more than 1.35 lakh, I think now. These are serious issues.
Right. You know, Mr. Isaac, the Chief Economic Advisor has recently said that the 28% slab on GST must go. You had, you know, the Finance Secretary in an exclusive conversation with us say that it cannot be done in a hurry. When do you see rates, you know, being rationalized? Because the fact is that GST was meant to be one nation, one tax. Do you think there's ever going to be that ideal GST in India, at best with maybe just 2 rate slabs?
No, I don't agree with him at all. I don't accept the view that the GST, best GST would be one rate for the whole country. GST, there must be differential rate to reflect the kind of a kind of redistributive justice into the tax system. So I don't accept that luxuries and consumer durables, the tax rate should be brought down from the percent 28 to much lower level, and rates be reduced from 4 to 3 and so on. There is much more to the country than just the ease of doing business. The additional incremental ease of doing business you get by reducing, say, one more rate. Compare it with the question of redistributive justice. Now you have almost all commodities except primary commodities, they have tax, which in fact when compared to the pre-existing ones would have only marginally increased, and you have a scandalous decline in the tax incidence on luxury commodities. We are making India much more inequitable. I don't agree with that.
Fair enough. So my last question to you, and this is about, you know, something you've very vociferously spoken about. In principle, any additional sector-specific cess distorts GST. But do you believe that given the mounting arrears of farmers, the liquidity crunch of sugar mills, the government aid for sugar farmers, there is a rationale for a sugar cess now?
No, look, I'm agreeable to tweak the rates of GST, which will go into a common fund in which the center and state will have the right to decide how best to use it for the farmers. But you can't use selectively, okay, now for some reason the sugar farmer, what about my rubber farmer? And why bring it as a cess? Once you bring it to a cess, it's non-vatable. The input credit cannot be claimed. That distorts the GST structure. Therefore, well, let us discuss our other alternatives. It can be non-GST tax on, say, import or whatever. If not possible, just increase by 0.5% the GST rate, which would go into a special fund, but a fund on which a center and state has equal claim in deciding what is to be done.
All right, so with that, we'll thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us 1 year on what you've had to make of the GST rollout. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on ET Now.